Smoke hung thick over the battlefield, turning the horizon into a hazy swirl of gray and orange. Craters scarred the ground, jagged rocks torn apart by explosions. Broken alien machines lay scattered among shattered towers, and the air smelled of scorched metal and ozone. Silence did not exist here. Only the constant thrum of distant engines, the rattling of weapons, and the occasional scream carried by the wind. In the middle of this chaos, human soldiers crouched behind a ruined wall. Dust clung to their armor and sweat trickled down their faces beneath the helmets. Their eyes scanned the horizon, searching for movement. Their numbers were small, far smaller than the alien forces advancing steadily toward their positions. Yet there was no fear in their posture, only focus, determination, and a quiet courage that seemed impossible for a species so outnumbered. Lieutenant Mara Jensen adjusted her visor and peered at the approaching swarm. "They're coming faster this time," she murmured, her voice calm but firm. "Hold your ground. Don't give them an inch." Around her, soldiers nodded, gripping their rifles tightly. They had been fighting for days, almost without rest, yet they refused to retreat. Their human training, their adaptability, and their unyielding will made them different from any other species. They were not just soldiers, they were humans. And humans did not quit. Suddenly, the chatter on the comms went silent. A strange vibration seemed to ripple through the ground. At first, no one noticed. The aliens continued their march, their armored bodies gleaming in the dim light. But the vibration grew stronger, pulsing steadily underfoot. Then high above the horizon, something appeared. At first, it was just a glint, a small speck of light in the sky. Mara squinted, shielding her eyes from the haze. "Do you see that?" she asked, pointing. Her soldiers looked, following her finger. The glint grew larger, transforming into a massive silhouette. The air seemed to shift as it moved closer, and a deep hum resonated through the battlefield, vibrating through the soldiers' bones. It was unlike any sound they had ever heard, low, powerful, commanding. The aliens froze. Their movements stuttered, and for the first time, hesitation appeared on their faces. None of them had expected reinforcements, certainly not of this size and strength. They tilted their heads toward the sky, confusion and fear mixing in their alien expressions. A human voice crackled over the battlefield comms, calm and authoritative. "All units, stand by. Reinforcements have arrived." And then the warship revealed itself fully. It was massive, far larger than any alien vessel they had seen, shaped with sleek curves and reinforced with gleaming armor plates. The engines flared, casting a pale light over the battlefield. Its sheer presence made the smoke and fire seem almost insignificant, like a small flame against the rising sun. The soldiers on the ground felt a rush of energy, a surge of hope that carried them beyond exhaustion and fear. Mara Jensen felt it most strongly, her heart pounding, her mind sharp. She had been trained for this moment, but nothing could have prepared her for the sight of the warship, hovering with quiet authority over the battlefield. The aliens murmured among themselves, their languages strange and chaotic to human ears. Their leader, a towering creature with armored plating and glowing eyes, snarled, a sound that vibrated in the air. It raised its weapon, a massive cannon designed to obliterate anything in its path, and fired at the approaching warship. The human warship did not dodge or recoil. Instead, it tilted slightly, letting a pulse of energy sweep across the alien ranks. Explosions erupted, not from brute force but from precise strikes that disabled key artillery and command units. The aliens' advance faltered. Confusion spread through their ranks as they struggled to understand the humans' sudden and unexpected advantage. On the ground, the human soldiers watched with awe. The warship's weapons were precise, targeting only what was necessary to turn the tide. Mara Jensen smiled, gripping her rifle tightly. "They're showing us how it's done," she said softly. Her soldiers nodded, inspired, their movements sharper, faster, more coordinated than before. A human comm officer spoke from the warship. "Lieutenant Jensen, do you copy? We have eyes on all enemy positions. Prepare for orbital support." "Copy that," Mara replied. "We're ready." She turned to her soldiers, raising her voice. "Move forward. Watch their left flank, they're panicking." The humans advanced, moving like a single organism. Their steps were measured, their aim precise. Alien fire rained down, but the soldiers adapted, ducking behind debris, firing in synchronized bursts and using terrain to their advantage. The aliens had expected chaos and fear, but what they received was discipline, strategy, and courage. As they fought, Mara noticed something unusual. Even the smallest human gestures seemed to affect the aliens. A daring move here, a clever trap there, and confusion spread like wildfire through the enemy lines. Fear, hesitation, and uncertainty crept into the hearts of creatures who had believed themselves unstoppable. Above, the warship deployed small drone units, each no larger than a human hand. They zipped across the battlefield, sabotaging enemy machines and relaying vital information to the soldiers below. Mara's unit received a live feed, showing weak points in the alien armor, supply routes, and hidden snipers. It was overwhelming intelligence, but in the best way, allowing humans to strike with unmatched precision. The alien leader roared in frustration, raising its massive hands toward the sky. Its followers hesitated, unsure how to act. Every strategy they had relied on seemed ineffective against this species. The humans did not just fight. They analyzed, adapted, and executed flawlessly. Mara noticed a group of alien troops attempting to flank them. She quickly drew a map in the dirt, signaling to her team where to move. They advanced silently, taking positions that allowed them to ambush the flank. When the aliens appeared, they were met with coordinated fire, cutting them off before they could cause damage. One by one, the alien units fell, not to overwhelming force but to ingenuity, strategy, and courage. The battlefield, once a place of hopeless struggle, began to change. The tide was not entirely in the humans' favor yet, but hope was no longer just a dream. It was real. Soldiers felt the surge of morale, the unshakable belief that they could survive and even win. They were humans, and humanity had always excelled when others underestimated them. Mara Jensen paused for a moment, glancing at the warship hovering above. Its massive form reflected the last rays of the alien sun, and she realized something profound. This was more than reinforcements. It was a symbol, a statement that humanity would not bow to fear, that no matter how dire the situation, humans would rise, adapt, and overcome. The aliens, sensing this shift, hesitated again. Their confidence wavered as they tried to regroup, but every action seemed countered before it could succeed. It was not just the warship, it was the humans themselves. Their unpredictability, intelligence, and courage created an edge the aliens could not comprehend. And then, for the first time in weeks, silence fell over parts of the battlefield, not from absence of action, but from awe. The aliens paused, their weapons still raised but unsure what to do. The humans moved forward steadily, their determination unwavering. Mara Jensen felt the pulse of energy from the warship above, a silent promise that they were not alone. She raised her rifle, signaling to her unit. "Forward! Keep moving! Show them what humans are made of." The soldiers responded with a unified shout, advancing as one. Explosions and fire surrounded them, yet they did not falter. They were humans facing impossible odds, and they had something no one else possessed: resilience, intelligence, and the courage to fight when all seemed lost. The warship loomed larger, preparing for the next phase of its support. The battlefield had changed, and both sides knew it. Humanity had arrived not as a single force, but as an unyielding presence, an unpredictable, brilliant, and unstoppable wave. Mara Jensen glanced at the horizon once more. Smoke, fire, and chaos still raged, but in the distance the alien forces hesitated. They had never faced humans like this before, and as long as humans stood, they would never give up. The first part of the battle was over, but the war had just begun. Above them, the warship watched, waiting, ready to guide its soldiers through the chaos. Below, humanity had shown its first spark, a reminder that even in the darkest hour, humans could rise and turn the tide. Silence hung briefly, almost sacred, over the battlefield. It was a moment of awe, a pause before the storm. And as the humans looked up at the massive warship in orbit, they knew one thing: the galaxy would never forget this day. Humanity had arrived. The battlefield was alive with tension. Smoke and dust swirled in the air, mixing with the faint glow from distant explosions. The alien forces had regrouped, their massive armored units pressing forward in a cautious advance. They had seen the humans fight fiercely, and they had seen the warship above. Now they were wary, hesitant, trying to understand a species that moved and thought unlike any they had faced before. On the human side, the soldiers were reorganizing, taking advantage of the brief lull. Lieutenant Mara Jensen crouched behind the wreckage of a shattered tower, her eyes scanning the horizon. She could hear the hum of the warship above, a constant reminder that help was close, precise, and devastatingly efficient. "Command to all units," the voice crackled through the comms. "Orbital support is online. Targets have been identified. Proceed with coordinated strikes." Human ingenuity in action. Adapt and overcome, Mara smiled. It was always this simple for humans: observe, plan, act. While the aliens relied on sheer numbers and overwhelming firepower, humans used brains, speed, and adaptation. Every soldier had a mind, and together those minds created tactics the aliens could never predict. "Forward," she said to her unit. "Stick to the plan. Watch the drones feed and move carefully." Above them, the warship released its first wave of drones. They zipped through the battlefield like tiny stars, smaller than a human hand but powerful beyond measure. Each drone carried scanning instruments, mini-weapons, and real-time communication capabilities. They scanned alien positions, feeding critical information to the soldiers on the ground. Mara's visor lit up with new data: weak points in the alien armor, artillery positions, supply lines, and even troop morale indicators. Humans were now fighting with knowledge the aliens could not imagine. Mara pointed to a ridge where a heavy alien cannon had been positioned. "Drone feed shows their main cannon is exposed on the left," she said. "We can take it out before it fires again." Her soldiers moved with silent precision. Using the terrain, they crept closer, coordinating with orbital signals that guided them like an invisible hand. As they reached the ridge, Mara gave the order. The cannon exploded in a controlled blast from human explosives, disabling it instantly. The aliens had no idea how it happened. They had never encountered such precise strikes before. Meanwhile, the aliens tried to adapt. Their leaders barked orders, repositioning troops and machines. But every move they made was anticipated. The humans on the ground were not only fighting. They were learning, predicting, and countering, using the warship's intelligence and their own instincts. In the distance, Mara noticed a group of alien soldiers attempting a flanking maneuver. They crept around a broken cliff, hoping to strike the humans from behind. She called out, "Left flank! Set up an ambush." Her soldiers obeyed, spreading silently into hidden positions. When the aliens stepped into the trap, they were met with a volley of fire that forced them to retreat in confusion. Above, the warship adjusted its position. Its sensors swept the battlefield, detecting hidden enemy units and potential reinforcements. Tiny missile pods deployed silently, targeting only the enemy's strategic machinery, disabling it without unnecessary destruction. Humans had perfected the art of efficiency, winning battles without waste, relying on intelligence and precision over sheer force. The aliens growled and roared, frustrated by every setback. They had not faced opponents like this before. Humans were not only brave, they were clever. They could adapt faster than the aliens could process. Every failed assault on human positions cost them more than soldiers. It cost them confidence. Fear began to creep into the ranks, weakening their coordination. Mara's team advanced steadily. They moved through craters and burned out vehicles, using every obstacle as cover. Drones guided them, relaying alien positions, highlighting traps, and even projecting false images to confuse the enemy. The battlefield had become a chessboard, and humans were always several moves ahead. From her vantage point on the ridge, Mara watched as a massive alien walker approached, its towering legs pounding the ground. The humans had limited resources, but they had the advantage of preparation. She raised her hand, signaling to the soldiers. "Focus fire on the joints," she shouted. "We know their weak points now. We can bring it down." The soldiers opened fire, aiming for the exposed joints revealed by the drone feed. Sparks flew, metal groaned, and finally the massive walker collapsed in a cloud of smoke and debris. Mara allowed herself a brief smile. The aliens had underestimated humans once again. The warship above continued its relentless support. From orbit, it could strike where needed, but it did not destroy blindly. It targeted key threats, disabled command units, and provided real-time intelligence to the ground forces. The combination of humans' adaptability and the warship's technology created an advantage no alien army could counter. Even as the aliens regrouped, humans demonstrated another trait the aliens could not understand: teamwork. Each soldier acted as part of a larger organism, thinking not only for themselves but for the unit, for the mission, and for humanity itself. It was a unity of mind and action that no brute force could overcome. Mara spotted a squad of alien artillery units attempting to fire at the human positions. She quickly calculated the trajectory and gave orders. Set charges at the base. We'll topple them from here. With coordinated effort, the team placed explosives at strategic points. A massive chain reaction ensued, sending alien artillery crashing down. The aliens were stunned, unable to comprehend how such a small number of humans could achieve so much. The humans paused for a moment, catching their breath and reassessing. Mara looked over her soldiers. Fatigue was written on their faces, but determination burned brighter. Stay sharp, she reminded them. The battle isn't over. Keep moving. Keep watching. Keep thinking. Above, the warship deployed another wave of drones, smaller and faster this time. They weaved through smoke and fire, targeting communication arrays and command pods. The aliens tried to scramble their signals, but humans had anticipated every move. With disrupted communications, the aliens became disorganized, their commands arriving too late or too confusing to act effectively. Mara watched as the aliens attempted to mount a counterattack. Tanks rolled forward, walkers stomped across the cratered plains, and smaller units swarmed the remaining human positions. But humans were ready. Using terrain intelligence and adaptability, they struck at the weakest points first, dismantling each threat before it could gain momentum. It was not brute force that won the day, it was thinking, acting, and adapting. Humanity had turned its limitations into advantages, using fewer numbers to create stronger outcomes. Every soldier knew their value, every move had purpose, and every strategy combined human instinct with technology that enhanced their abilities. The alien leader, towering above the battlefield, growled in frustration. Its massive hands clutched a command device, trying desperately to coordinate attacks. But the humans were always one step ahead. They anticipated, countered, and neutralized every assault with a mixture of courage and intelligence that the aliens could not predict. Mara's eyes swept across the battlefield. Smoke and fire still filled the air, but humans had carved out their positions. They had gained ground, and every success strengthened their resolve. They were more than soldiers, they were symbols of humanity's ingenuity, adaptability, and unbreakable spirit. Signal to warship, Mara said. Prepare for coordinated strike. We can push them back completely. The warship responded immediately, sending tactical data and coordinating orbital energy strikes. Humans on the ground executed with precision, striking key enemy positions simultaneously. Explosions rocked the battlefield, not indiscriminately but strategically. The aliens faltered again, their formations breaking under the relentless combination of human ground tactics and orbital support. Even as the alien forces retreated slightly, Mara reminded her soldiers to stay vigilant. They may pull back, but they will come again. Keep your wits. Keep moving. Keep fighting. That is what humans do. As the sun began to set, casting long shadows over the battlefield, the humans had gained the upper hand. The aliens had been slowed, weakened, and demoralized, but the war was far from over. Still, humanity had shown its greatest strength, not in numbers or sheer power, but in cleverness, coordination, and courage. Above them, the warship hovered, a silent guardian. Its presence alone reminded the soldiers that they were not just surviving, they were leading. Every decision, every maneuver, every calculated strike demonstrated why humans were different, why humans were feared and respected in the galaxy. Mara Jensen stood atop the ridge, her eyes scanning the horizon. The battlefield was still dangerous, still unpredictable, but the humans had proven something undeniable. Intelligence. Adaptability and courage were weapons stronger than any cannon, more precise than any missile, and more unyielding than any alien army. And as night fell, the battlefield lit only by the warship's soft glow, humanity had gained more than ground. They had gained momentum, confidence, and a legend in the making. The aliens had met humans in battle, and they had learned something terrifying. Humans did not simply fight to survive, they fought to win, using brains, strategy, and courage where others relied on numbers alone. The battlefield had fallen into a tense rhythm. Explosions punctuated the silence, and distant fires lit the horizon in orange and gray. Alien forces were regrouping, but the humans were not just holding their ground. They were reshaping the battle entirely. Every move, every maneuver, every strike carried purpose. Lieutenant Mara Jensen moved with her team along the ridge, scanning the horizon. Her visor highlighted enemy units, marking positions of artillery, command squads, and ambushes. Even as the aliens tried to reorganize, the humans anticipated each adjustment. "Notice their hesitation," Mara said, pointing to a group of alien warriors hesitating near a crater. "They've learned to fear us. They don't trust their instincts anymore." "That hesitation is our advantage," her soldiers nodded. It was not just physical strength that gave humans an edge, it was the mind. They fought with strategy, coordination, and, most importantly, the ability to predict and influence the enemy's actions. Above them, the warship hovered like a silent sentinel, its massive form blocking the alien sun in parts of the battlefield. Drones zipped out from hidden compartments, creating decoy attacks and simulating strikes to confuse the enemy. Every false explosion, every sudden movement made the aliens question reality. Were humans in greater numbers than they thought? Were reinforcements coming from every direction? Mara activated her comms. "Deploy drone decoys to the left ridge. Signal fake artillery strikes. Force them to split their forces." A moment later, miniature drones streaked across the battlefield, emitting lights and simulated weapon fire. The alien troops panicked, splitting into smaller groups, unsure where to move, unsure which attacks were real. Their formations broke, their discipline faltered, and fear spread like wildfire. Humans took advantage immediately. Mara signaled her squad. "Move in! Take out the separated units before they regroup." The soldiers advanced silently, using cover, terrain, and timing perfectly. They struck the isolated alien units with precision, neutralizing threats quickly. One by one, the aliens fell or fled, overwhelmed not by numbers but by strategy. From orbit, the warship continued its support. Its sensors detected weak points in alien formations and relayed information to Mara's squad. Energy pulses disabled alien communications in targeted areas, leaving entire squads directionless. Every human soldier on the ground was aware of the battlefield's shifting dynamics, while the aliens were forced to react blindly. Mara's mind raced. Humans were not just fighting, they were teaching their enemies to fear, hesitate, and make mistakes. The aliens' hesitation created openings for attack, turning the battle into a game of intellect as much as strength. "Notice that," Mara said, gesturing to a group of aliens frozen in indecision. "They are second-guessing themselves. That's when we strike." Her soldiers moved swiftly, eliminating threats efficiently. One alien commander, frustrated by the humans' unpredictability, attempted to rally his troops. But his voice sounded weak, wavering. Humans had learned to project strength and confidence, while also using ethical restraint. They fought ruthlessly but with honor, sparing non-combatants and avoiding unnecessary destruction. This confused the aliens even more. They had never encountered warriors who could defeat them without cruelty. Meanwhile, Mara's team spotted a group of alien snipers trying to find hidden human positions. She raised a hand, signaling a detachment to circle around. The snipers, thinking their advantage remained, were suddenly flanked and captured without firing a shot. The humans had used misdirection, timing, and coordination, a combination the aliens could not anticipate. In another sector, human soldiers constructed clever traps, mines disguised as rubble, energy nets hidden in craters, and robotic decoys waiting to spring into action created a web the aliens could not navigate. Every step forward for the aliens became dangerous. Every hesitation gave humans more advantage. The alien leader, a towering figure of strength and cunning, roared in frustration. It was unusual for them to hesitate, unusual to be outwitted. For the first time, doubt crept into their mind. The humans were not just surviving, they were teaching fear. Fear of humans, fear of the unpredictable, fear of a species that could adapt faster, plan smarter, and fight with courage unlike any other. Mara noticed an unusual movement in the alien ranks. They were regrouping near a burned-out command tower, attempting to send signals to reinforcements. She smiled. "Command is exposed. That's our chance to disrupt them completely. Prepare for precision strike," the warship responded instantly. A soft hum filled the battlefield as orbital drones targeted the command tower. Energy pulses disabled communications and scanners, leaving the aliens blind and disorganized. Mara's squad moved in with perfect coordination, neutralizing remaining defenders without hesitation. The psychological effect was immediate. Alien forces began to retreat, not because they were defeated in direct combat, but because their confidence had shattered. Their tactics faltered, their discipline crumbled, and their fear of humans grew with every passing moment. Even the simplest human actions carried meaning. One soldier ran across open ground to rescue a trapped companion. Another shielded a captured alien civilian from harm. Every act of bravery, every demonstration of honor added weight to the humans' legend. The aliens were not only fighting a physically strong opponent, they were facing a species with values, courage, and intelligence that made them unpredictable and terrifying. Mara's visor lit up with data from the warship. Enemy morale had dropped by nearly 30% across multiple sectors. It was unprecedented. Humans had not only gained physical advantage, they had broken the enemy's confidence, which in battle could be just as decisive as any weapon. She turned to her soldiers. This is the moment. Push forward. Every step we take now reinforces the legend of humanity. Strike with purpose, strike with courage, and show them why we never give up. The soldiers advanced. Drones guided them to vulnerable points, and each strike was calculated, effective, and swift. Alien troops fell back, some fleeing entirely, others trapped by clever human maneuvers. It was not just a victory, it was a statement. Humans could fight, adapt, and dominate not only by force, but by mind, strategy, and morale. From the ridge, Mara looked at the alien leader, who now struggled to maintain control over what remained of its forces. The creature's confidence was gone, replaced by confusion and fear. It had underestimated humans at every turn. It had believed numbers and brute strength would guarantee victory. But humans were not predictable. Humans were not bound by convention. Humans were extraordinary. Even as night began to fall, the humans maintained their momentum. They moved through shadows, used terrain cleverly, and coordinated with orbital support. Explosions lit the battlefield, but every strike was deliberate. The aliens could not anticipate the next move, and every hesitation played to human advantage. Mara allowed herself a moment to breathe. She looked at her soldiers, exhausted but unbroken. Each one embodied the spirit of humanity: courage, intelligence, adaptability, and unwavering determination. They were small in number, but their impact was enormous. Every decision they made, every clever maneuver, demonstrated why humans were feared and respected across the galaxy. Above them, the warship adjusted its position, preparing for the next wave of attacks. Its presence reassured the soldiers and amplified their efficiency. Drones scanned, targeted, and disrupted alien movements, making humans faster and smarter than the enemy at every turn. Mara activated her comms again. Command to all units. Maintain pressure. Continue coordinated strikes. Their hesitation is our weapon. Use it. We are humans. We do not quit. We do not falter. We do not lose. The aliens heard the humans' actions, their words, and their efficiency. Fear continued to spread. Confidence in their own strength wavered. They had encountered powerful species before, but none as unpredictable, intelligent, and determined as humans. Mara's soldiers pressed forward, taking ground, disabling alien machinery, and capturing vital intelligence. The battlefield was still dangerous, but the humans' advantage was clear. Strategy, courage, and adaptability had turned the tide. For the aliens, the lesson was clear. Humans were not merely soldiers, they were thinkers, planners, and innovators. Every human action, even small, had meaning. Every battle maneuver carried purpose. Every strike sent a message. Underestimating humanity was a mistake no one could afford. Mara Jensen paused, looking up at the warship above. Its soft glow illuminated the battlefield, signaling hope, support, and strength. Humanity had not only survived, they had dominated, using every advantage their minds, hearts, and technology could provide. The aliens retreated slightly, regrouping in disorder, their morale shaken. Humans were not just fighting, they were winning hearts, minds, and the battlefield itself. Every movement reinforced a simple truth. Humans were extraordinary, unpredictable, and unstoppable when united and determined. And as darkness fell over the battlefield, the humans advanced, confident, clever, and fearless. The aliens now feared them not only for their weapons, but for their minds. Humans had demonstrated an advantage no other species could match: the psychological edge. The warship above hummed quietly, watching, guiding, and preparing for the next stage. Below, Mara and her soldiers moved with purpose, intelligence, and courage. The aliens could see it, feel it, and fear it. The battlefield was no longer the chaotic, hopeless place it had been. Smoke still rose from the scorched ground, and the horizon glowed with distant fires. Yet the humans moved with purpose, their every step precise and coordinated. The aliens, once confident in their strength, now faltered under the relentless intelligence and courage of humanity. Lieutenant Mara Jensen led her squad along a ridge that overlooked a valley filled with alien machinery and troops. Her visor highlighted key targets, artillery units, supply depots, and command towers. The humans had learned to combine observation, strategy, and speed to overwhelm the enemy. Now it was time to strike decisively. "Command," Mara spoke into her comms. "We have visual on the enemy's main supply hub. It's poorly defended and exposed. With orbital support, we can neutralize it completely and cut off their reinforcements." "Copy that, Lieutenant," the warship replied, deploying precision strikes in T-minus 60 seconds. "Coordinate ground movements to maximize efficiency." Above, the massive warship adjusted its position, aligning its targeting systems with pinpoint accuracy. Tiny drones released silently, weaving through smoke and fire, carrying energy charges designed to disable alien equipment without harming civilians or structures that could be salvaged. Mara turned to her soldiers. "Positions," she ordered. "We move in as soon as the orbital strikes hit. Watch the weak points. Remember your training. We are humans. We adapt. We overcome. We win." The drones reached the alien supply hub first, exploding with controlled precision. Alien artillery units were disabled instantly. Communications arrays went offline and supply lines were severed. The aliens on the ground were thrown into confusion, their formations breaking apart. Mara's squad moved like a shadow through the chaos, advancing steadily, eliminating remaining threats with calculated efficiency. The aliens tried to rally, sending reinforcements from nearby positions. Mara noticed them and quickly devised a plan. "Split into 2 groups," she ordered. "One flanks from the east, the other pushes through the central ridge. Orbital drones will guide us and disrupt their advance." Her soldiers obeyed without hesitation. Coordination was their strength, and it amplified the effect of every maneuver. The alien units moving to counterattack found themselves trapped between humans they could not predict, and drones striking from above. Panic spread and alien discipline crumbled. The human warship was not merely an observer. It acted like a general on the battlefield, providing intelligence, covering fire and energy strikes exactly where they were needed. The humans combined their ingenuity with this support, creating a force the aliens could not counter. Mara's team encountered a group of alien walkers advancing toward their position. These towering machines had crushed human defenses in earlier battles, but now the humans had learned their weaknesses. Mara raised her hand. "Target the joints! Aim for the energy conduits!" Explosions erupted as the soldiers fired in unison, guided by the warship's orbital feed. Sparks flew from exposed circuits, and one massive walker toppled to the ground, immobilized. The aliens nearby froze, uncertain how to respond to a species that could dismantle their largest machines with so few soldiers. Meanwhile, another squad of humans worked silently to disable alien artillery. Using terrain and clever traps, they placed charges at critical points. The explosions were precise, taking out the alien weapons without causing unnecessary destruction. Every move had purpose. Every attack was calculated. The battlefield was no longer a place of chance. It was a place where humans dictated the outcome. The alien leader roared, a sound that shook the remaining troops. It attempted to coordinate a counterattack, but its forces were already disoriented. Every human action had been anticipated, every alien move predicted. The aliens realized they were no longer fighting humans. They were fighting strategy, intelligence, and adaptability made flesh. Mara's visor highlighted a group of enemy reinforcements approaching from the north. She spoke into her comms. "Command, we have incoming units at Grid 59, prepare orbital disruption." Within moments, the warship deployed micro-missiles that swept across the northern approach. Disabling armored vehicles and scattering infantry, the humans advanced immediately, striking the remaining units before they could recover. The alien troops fell back in confusion, their morale breaking further. On the ground, Mara's squad captured a key alien command pod. It contained information about remaining reinforcements and battlefield positions. The humans quickly integrated this data, adjusting their strategy in real time. No alien maneuver could catch them off guard. Every decision was informed, precise, and decisive. As night fell, the battlefield glowed with controlled explosions and fires. The aliens were losing ground. losing confidence and losing the battle of minds as much as the battle of arms. Mara's soldiers pushed forward steadily, securing positions and preventing the enemy from regrouping. The warship above continued to hum with quiet power. Its presence alone inspired confidence, but it also acted as an unstoppable weapon when needed. Orbital strikes, energy pulses, and drone coordination made humans faster, smarter, and stronger than their alien opponents. Mara observed the alien leader one last time. It was trying desperately to salvage the situation, but its efforts were futile. Humans had demonstrated an unprecedented advantage, a combination of courage, intelligence, and adaptability that the aliens could not comprehend. The humans prepared for the final push. They coordinated orbital strikes with ground maneuvers, creating a pincer movement that trapped alien forces between two waves of precise attacks. Mara led her squad through the center, moving with calculated speed and efficiency. The alien troops panicked, unable to predict the humans' next move. Even the aliens' largest machines fell to human ingenuity. Explosions disabled key joints, energy conduits were overloaded, and human soldiers moved like shadows, striking exactly where the damage would be most effective. The battlefield, once chaotic and dangerous, had become a testament to human strategy and coordination. Mara's team encountered one of the last alien strongholds. It was heavily fortified, but humans had a plan. Using drones and terrain, they created distractions, drawing out defenders while other units struck from unexpected angles. Within moments, the stronghold was neutralized. Alien forces scattered, demoralized, and broken. From the ridge, Mara looked at her soldiers. Their faces were tired, smeared with dirt and sweat, but their eyes shone with determination. They had pushed back impossible odds, and every success reinforced the truth of humanity. Courage, intelligence, and adaptability were stronger than any enemy. The alien leader finally retreated, ordering the remaining troops to fall back to a distant position. It had lost not because of numbers, not because of brute force, but because it had underestimated humans. Humans had turned limitations into advantages, using brains, courage, and coordination to achieve victory where others might have failed. The battlefield fell quiet once again. Smoke rose in slow spirals from destroyed machinery and burned-out vehicles. Fires flickered across the horizon, but amidst the chaos, humans stood tall. They had not just survived. They had turned the tide of battle completely. Mara Jensen allowed herself a moment to breathe. She glanced up at the warship hovering silently above, its engines glowing faintly in the night sky. It had guided them, protected them, and amplified their strength. But the true power had come from the humans themselves, their bravery, intelligence, and unyielding spirit. Her soldiers gathered around, exchanging nods and quiet words of encouragement. Every one of them had played a role in the victory, and every one of them had demonstrated the qualities that made humanity extraordinary. "Command to all units," Mara spoke into her comms. "The main alien forces are retreating. Secure the battlefield, maintain positions, and prepare for any counterattacks. Humanity has shown its strength, but we remain vigilant. Never underestimate the enemy, but never doubt ourselves." The warship above signaled acknowledgement, preparing for any remaining threats and coordinating with ground forces. Humanity had not only turned the tide, they had demonstrated that intelligence, courage, and coordination could overcome even the most overwhelming odds. Mara surveyed the battlefield one last time that night. Fires burned, but they were controlled. The humans had advanced, captured key positions, and neutralized enemy command points. The aliens had learned a lesson they would not forget. Humans were more than fighters. They were thinkers, strategists, and unstoppable when united. The soldiers rested briefly, but their minds remained alert. They had proven themselves today, and every move reinforced the truth of humanity. Courage, intelligence, and adaptability were weapons stronger than any cannon, more precise than any missile, and more unyielding than any alien force. Above, the warship continued its silent watch, a guardian and guide. Below, humanity had proven its worth on the battlefield, turning despair into hope, chaos into strategy, and overwhelming odds into decisive advantage. Mara Jensen knew the battle was far from over. But tonight, humans had done what few could imagine. They had taken control, turned the tide, and shown the galaxy what it meant to be human. The aliens would retreat, regroup, and plan their next move. But they would never forget the battlefield was quiet, almost serene, but the silence was not empty. It was filled with the echoes of human courage, strategy, and determination. Smoke still rose from craters and burned machinery, but the chaos had been replaced by order. Alien forces were in retreat, their formations broken, their morale shattered. Lieutenant Mara Jensen stood on a ridge overlooking the valley, her visor scanning for any signs of remaining threats. The warship hovered above, a silent guardian whose presence reassured the soldiers on the ground. Humans had won the battle, but the war was far from over. Every step from here forward had to be measured, precise, and purposeful. "Command," Mara spoke into her comms. "The main alien forces have withdrawn. We are securing key positions and stabilizing the area, preparing for post-battle operations." "Copy that, Lieutenant," the warship replied. "Proceed carefully. Maintain vigilance. Humanity has demonstrated strength and intelligence today, but the galaxy remains unpredictable." The humans moved through the battlefield with care. They cleared debris, tended to the wounded, and recovered alien soldiers who had surrendered. Compassion was part of their strength. Another way humanity was different. They fought to win, yes, but they also fought with honor. The captured aliens were treated with respect, given food, water, and medical attention. It was a gesture that confused some of their enemies and inspired others. Humanity's reputation was growing, not only as fighters but as beings with intelligence, ethics, and foresight. Mara's squad encountered a group of alien civilians trapped in a destroyed settlement. Without hesitation, the soldiers moved to protect them, guiding them to safety. The civilians were wary, unsure if humans were friend or foe, but they quickly saw the care and precision with which the humans operated. Word spread fast even among the alien ranks. These humans were not mere warriors, they were extraordinary. Above, the warship deployed smaller craft to scan the surrounding area for any hidden threats. It was a silent reminder that vigilance was a constant necessity. Humans had learned from every battle that victory depended not just on strength but on awareness, coordination, and intelligence. Mara took a moment to reflect. The battle had tested them in every way possible: endurance, courage, strategy, and morality. And humanity had not just survived, they had triumphed using intelligence and adaptability to overcome impossible odds. Every soldier on the ground had contributed, every drone above had acted, and together, they had created a force unmatched in the galaxy. "Lieutenant, we've intercepted alien communication signals," her comm officer reported. "They're discussing terms of retreat and requesting negotiation." Mara's eyes narrowed, considering the possibilities. Negotiation could mean peace, a rare opportunity in a galaxy often defined by endless conflict. "Prepare to establish communication," she said. "We'll offer terms that ensure stability without unnecessary aggression. Show them humanity's strength and wisdom, not just its power." A signal was sent. Moments later, alien representatives arrived, cautious and wary. Mara and a small human delegation approached them with steady steps. No weapons were raised unnecessarily. The aliens, still shaken from the battle and impressed by the human strategy, paused. "Humans," one alien spoke, its voice reverberating in the quiet air. "Your actions are unlike any we have seen. You fight fiercely, but you also show reason and honor." "We wish to speak," Mara nodded. "We fight to protect, to survive, and to demonstrate that intelligence and courage can overcome conflict. We offer peace and cooperation. The battlefield is not a place for endless slaughter. It is a place for learning, strategy, and resolution." The aliens, observing the human soldiers' discipline, care for civilians, and precision in every movement, realized something profound. These were not ordinary beings. They were a species capable of remarkable innovation, strategic thinking, and ethical action, even in the midst of war. Negotiations began. Humans proposed terms that ensured the aliens could maintain dignity while recognizing humanity's strength and sovereignty. They offered collaboration, trade, and technology exchange, showing that victory was not only in combat but in diplomacy. The aliens, wary but impressed, agreed. As the negotiations continued, Mara's thoughts wandered to the battlefield itself. Fires burned low, smoke drifted across the valleys, and the warship cast a soft light over the scene. Humanity had demonstrated its full potential, not through overwhelming numbers but through strategy, courage, and ethical action. Every soldier, every drone, every calculated strike had contributed to the outcome. The warship signaled that orbital surveillance would remain for a time, ensuring peace and preventing any sudden counterattacks. Humans had learned that true victory required foresight. They had defeated their enemies, yes, but they had also secured stability and order for the future. Mara's soldiers moved to stabilize the remaining battlefield. They repaired alien machinery where possible, helped rebuild essential infrastructure, and ensured that civilians were safe. Humanity's approach was clear. Power without wisdom was meaningless, but strength combined with intelligence, courage, and care created lasting respect. As the alien representatives prepared to depart, one of them spoke quietly to Mara. "Your species is remarkable. You have taught us something we did not expect, that true strength is not in numbers or fear, but in courage, intelligence, and ethics." Mara nodded. "We are humans. We fight, we think, we care. That is what makes us who we are. Remember that, and you will see why humanity is a force unlike any other in the galaxy." The aliens departed, leaving behind a sense of awe and respect. Word of the humans' victory spread quickly, not just among the alien forces on this planet but across nearby systems. Humans had not only won a battle, they had established a reputation. The galaxy would remember the day a human warship entered orbit and changed the course of war through courage, intelligence, and strategic mastery. Back on the ground, Mara watched her soldiers work. They were tired, covered in soot and dust, yet their spirits were unbroken. Each one of them had contributed to a legacy that would outlast this battle. Humanity had shown its ingenuity, its courage, and its unity. And through every challenge faced, every enemy overcome, they had proven one simple truth: humans were extraordinary. The warship began to slowly ascend from orbit, its presence still reassuring but no longer needed for immediate combat. Mara's soldiers knew that humanity's strength was not dependent on any single machine or weapon. It was in their minds, their hearts, and their unity. Mara took a deep breath. Looking out over the battlefield, fires burned low, smoke drifted toward the stars, and the horizon glowed with the first hints of dawn. The warship's engines reflected faintly on the remaining smoke, a reminder that humans had arrived and that the galaxy would never see them the same way again. "Prepare to return to base," Mara instructed her team. "We've secured the battlefield. Our work here is done, but humanity's journey has just begun." The soldiers moved with purpose, gathering supplies, tending to the wounded, and leaving markers for rebuilding. Every action reinforced humanity's message. Strength tempered by intelligence and courage creates lasting influence, far beyond the reach of any weapon. Mara looked to the stars. The galaxy was vast, full of challenges, conflicts, and unknown civilizations. But humans had proven that they could face anything, adapt, and rise above. They were survivors, thinkers, strategists, and warriors. They were humans, and they were extraordinary. The battlefield, once a place of chaos and destruction, was now a testament to human capability. Alien forces had been humbled, civilians had been protected, and humans had proven their worth not only as fighters, but as leaders, innovators, and peacemakers. Above them, the warship ascended further, disappearing into the distance. It had served its purpose as both guardian and symbol. Humanity, now on the ground and in the minds of their enemies, had left a mark that would be remembered for generations. Mara Jensen turned to her soldiers. "We fought, we adapted, and we overcame. Remember today. Remember what it means to be human. This is only the beginning. The galaxy is vast, and humanity will rise to meet every challenge." Her soldiers nodded, pride shining in their eyes. Exhaustion was present, but so was triumph. They had faced impossible odds and emerged victorious, not just through force, but through intelligence, courage, and unity. Humanity's story had begun anew, and the legacy of this battle would echo across the stars. The battlefield fell quiet once more, but this time it was a quiet of accomplishment. The humans had not only won, they had set an example for all who would witness them. Intelligence, courage, adaptability, and ethical action had combined to secure a victory far greater than any one battle. And as the sun rose over the horizon, painting the sky in shades of orange and gold, the humans stood tall, knowing their place in the galaxy was now certain. They had fought with honor, triumphed with strategy, and secured a legacy that no enemy could erase. Silence fell over the battlefield, not the silence of fear, but the silence of awe and respect. Humanity had arrived and the galaxy would never forget it.